Now we are going to discuss about transport and warehousing. So for a retailer, transportation is very important. Transportation is the key also, and at the same time warehousing, because either as a retailer he is going to warehouse centrally, decentrally, and what are the different aspects which the retailer should keep into consideration. Now we need to see there are different questions which is more relevant to it. Let us discuss one by one. So first of all, the retailer will see how often will merchandise be shipped to the retailer. So the first part, how frequently the retailer will get the products from the, for example, from the supplier. So would be different for every supplier. If the products will be delivered maybe from other city, if the product will be delivered maybe from other country, if the product will be delivered maybe from other territory. So depending on the nature of the product, how frequently the retailer will get the product. So it has to be clearly defined to the system. At the time of registering a supplier, it has to be delivered. It has to be clearly mentioned that how frequently in a week, in a month, the supplier will deliver these products to the retailer. For example, if it is about the fresh fruits, if it is about the fresh meat, if it is about the anything which is more fresh, which is required maybe daily or maybe twice a day. So in this case, what would be the frequency? How a supplier is going to deliver, how frequently, at what time the supplier is going to deliver. So it would be different supplier by supplier, but it should be addressed immediately. Second is about how will small order quantities should be handled. Again, if for example you have retailer has ordered to the supplier, but it is not a big quantity, it is a small quantity because it is your requirement, this small quantity. So it should be addressed at any point of time, especially at the time of contract, that how these small quantities should be identified. Normally, I have seen the practice that minimum order quantity, which is MOQ, is defined at the time of the contract, that what should be the minimum order. If the minimum order is, let's say, 5 units or 10 units or a pack or a carton, then accordingly the retailer has to comply that. So all the minimum quantities should be addressed properly at the time of contract, and of course on the basis of the requirement. So the third question is about what shipper will be used. So what kind of shipping mode will be used? It will be by air, it will be by train, it will be by bus, it will be by shelf carrier, it would be. So what should be the mode? Because again it depends the product quality, it will result into the product timely availability for every single thing. So this should be clearly identified, agreed between the supplier, between the shipper, and between the retailer. Next question is about what transportation form will be used. Very clearly you have to spell out which type, for example, of vehicle you will use. If it is fresh product, so you have to clearly identify, clearly define that maybe you will be needing temperature controlled vehicle. For example, if you see practically countries like Pakistan, अगर आपको let's say मीट को शिप करना है, मीट को कहीं सेंड करना है from the butcher shop to the butcher shop, then ultimately you have seen practically कि वो गधा गाड़ियों के ऊपर, घोड़ा गाड़ियों के ऊपर, रिक्शा के ऊपर वो डिलीवर हो रहा होता है. But for a retailer who is going to do this complete HACCP and complete protocol, उसके लिए क्या जरूरी है कि he needs the delivery of the products in the temperature control vehicle. So what transportation will be used for what product and which form, it has to be clearly discussed, defined, agreed with the supplier. Then are multiple forms required? So again, different types to deliver this product, different forms to deliver the product would be available. For example, if you are looking for urgently some product, then maybe some other medium would be. And if you are looking for the product to be get delivered in a normal time, so what medium would be used? So there has to be a flexibility for different mediums. Then what are the special consideration for perishable and expensive product? For example, especially I normally give an example of, let's say if you are going to deliver, let's say some mobiles. So these are perishable products, also expensive products, and of course easy to steal, easy to theft. So in this case, you have to clearly identify that what kind of transportation, what method you will use. also for the perishable, for fruits, for vegetables, for meat, for all such things, you have to clearly identify what kind of vehicle, what consideration you have to do, spatial mark, what temperature guidelines you have to follow, and what type of vehicle you will use for the purpose. Then is about how often will special shipping arrangements be necessary. So for example, if you have promotion on some articles, of course that promotion will not last for, let's say, 12 months. It will last, for example, for a few weeks or maybe a month. So in this case, how frequently you will be needing some special arrangements? Because if you are looking for special arrangements 365 days in a year, not possible for the supplier. Supplier will never be able to fulfill or commit any such special arrangement. So it is always defined while having the agreement or consensus between supplier and the retailer that what would be the frequency of this special arrangements. How frequently you will ask me to do that favor. So if I am going to do that favor, let's document that favor so that everyone should know it. Then how are shipping terms negotiated with the suppliers? So shipping terms should be negotiated, should be in the favor of the retailer, should be in the favor of the supplier. So it has to have the win-win situation, because if the supplier will deliver more frequently, of course his shipping cost will increase. Of course his cost will increase because that is more effective, efficiently is more effective for the retailer. But if the retailer will keep inventory for the longer period of time, it is harmful for him. So you have to make a balance between the two. Then what delivery options will be available for the retailer's customer? So for example, if there is any customer who is going to bring that product to his home, for example, a customer who has bought refrigerator from the retail store and now he is going to deliver that product, take his product to the home, then will that product, there is some facility available where there is some solution, transportation solution available so that the customer can take this product to his home easily. So customer delivery solutions should be addressed properly. That is also the main component of it. So now we have discussed about the transportation and warehousing. Transportation and warehousing is the key. The customer has to see about what warehousing solution you have to do, what transportation solution have to follow. So let me discuss with you one example of it also, especially about the central warehousing. So what the major retailers do normally, they have a central warehouse. They ask supplier to deliver products to that central location, and then from central location they disperse to the different retail stores, to store 1, to store 2, to store 3. So to different stores normally deliver to the central warehouse. It is more effective and efficient way of delivering the product, because now you have the product, you have the stock available into the warehouse, you charge supplier for that warehousing, you charge supplier for that delivery from the warehouse to the store. Ultimately supplier will pay for it, but then you can easily remove your gaps. You can easily eliminate your gaps. You can easily improve your shelf availability, and that is only possible if you have the central warehousing. But of course you need to have multiple stores for it. You need to have such scale for it. You need to have such business for it. Otherwise supplier will not give you that facility and suppliers will not pay for it.